You know, when a superstar athlete comes back from a long injury, it's always a huge story. But sometimes that comeback is about more than just the final score. Today, we're looking at the return of Giannis Antetokounmpo and what it's telling us about a whole new chapter in his career.
Okay, let's just jump right in with Giannis's own words, because this says it all. This is not your typical post-game talk track. This is a moment of pure, raw honesty from one of the most physically dominant players we have ever seen. And really, it sets the stage for this entire story. All right, so the date was March 2nd, 2026. The Milwaukee Bucks are playing at home, and for the first time in what felt like forever, their guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, was back in the uniform. You could feel the energy. But the real question was, how much of the old Giannis were we going to get? And let's be clear, this was a long layoff. A staggering 29 games missed. That's a career high for him. And 23 of those were because of this nagging calf strain that just wouldn't go away. For a guy who's built his reputation on being an Iron Man, this was totally new ground. So, you're hoping for that fairy tale comeback, right? A huge performance, a big win, a sign that everything's back on track. But, well, sports don't really care about scripts, and this homecoming, it was anything but happy. The final score pretty much tells the whole tale. This wasn't just a loss, it was a 27-point blowout against their rivals, the Celtics. And the numbers don't lie. The Bucks got outshot, and they got absolutely crushed on the boards. Out-rebounded 63-47. Just a brutal, tough night at home.
Now, if you just look at the box score, Giannis's line of 19 points and 11 rebounds seems pretty decent, especially for a first game back. But basketball's a team sport, right? And his individual night just got completely lost in the shuffle of that massive team defeat.
Okay, let's get to the real heart of the matter here. Because the big story wasn't actually the final score. It was what Giannis said after the game. We got this incredibly rare and candid peek inside the mind of an elite athlete who's facing his own mortality, in a way. And this is the quote that just stopped everyone in their tracks. It's so simple, so direct, and so powerful. For years, Giannis has played like a real-life superhero, you know, seemingly invincible. And here he is, just admitting that even superheroes get older. So this is the whole thing right here, this fundamental shift in his mindset. We all remember the invincible Giannis, the guy who made these superhuman comebacks from injuries. Now he's using words like methodical. He's recognizing that these soft tissue injuries, like that calf strain, are a different beast. They can stick around if you don't treat them with respect. And this timeline just drives that point home. I mean, think back to 2021. He hyperextends his knee, it looked awful, but he misses just 2 games and then comes back to win Finals MVP. Now fast forward to 2026, and a calf strain has him out for 29 games, and the team's season is on the brink. It is a completely different world.
So let's zoom out for a second, from the player to the team, because Giannis being out for so long has created a huge problem for the Milwaukee Bucks and their chances of even making the playoffs.
This chart tells you everything you need to know. With Giannis in the lineup, the Bucks win almost 49% of their games. Okay, not bad. But without him? Yikes, that number drops to below 38%. He's not just part of the team, he is the engine, and that engine's been sitting in the shop. And because of that, they are in a deep hole. They're sitting in 11th place in the East. They're 3.5 games back from just getting a spot in the play-in tournament. For a team that's made the playoffs 9 years in a row, this is basically red alert territory.
So, all of this leads to the big question, right? Where do they possibly go from here? What does the future look like for this more self-aware, more vulnerable Giannis and for his struggling team?
The big takeaway here is this idea of evolution. Giannis himself is signaling the change. The era of just being a warrior, of playing through any and all pain, that might be coming to an end. It seems like the era of the methodical Giannis, the one who plays the long game with his body, has to begin now.
And that leaves us with this really fascinating question to chew on. That force of nature style is what made him an MVP, what made him a champion. So can this newer, smarter, more methodical version of Giannis still hit those unbelievable heights? That is the challenge he and the Bucks are facing right now.